All right, so I've been doing a couple sketches trying to figure out what I can wedge in next. So what I've decided to do, because I just want to use a different form, so for a couple reasons, so I can make videos about trying to wedge different forms, and also so I can have a variety of objects here. So what I'm going to do is a hexagonal prism, I believe is what it's called. So the idea, you can't really tell here, is just a quick sketch, but the idea is this cylinder here that's going back in space, I'm going to wedge something in right here, because I'm slowly starting to build down and trying to activate this space here at the bottom, thinking about composition as well. And eventually I can kind of wedge something here on the side, maybe to add down here, but that's a later thing. What I'm trying to do here though is I'll have an ellipse, or I'm sorry, a cylinder going on a diagonal in this direction. So that's kind of a quick version of that. And what I'm going to do next, and it took me, whenever you try to wedge something in, do a couple sketches, try to figure it out. And I was trying to figure out where would be the best location to wedge something like this in, and I figured this was kind of good. So the bottom of my rectangle, or my beginning part of the form, is going to be right around at the bottom of this ellipse here. Here I made it too big, and I couldn't really figure out how to wedge this. I mean, there's ways to wedge it in. I mean, I could have wedged it in coming in the top, and it would kind of come out here, I guess, and then it would go down. Oh, that's cool. I might like that too. Oh, I like that better. Interesting. And then it comes back around, and then it goes back out. And then this comes out here, does this. This is a hexagonal prism, goes underneath, and everything is inside of it. And this all stays the same. So you can kind of see two different wedges here. I didn't realize I could have done that. Now I kind of want to go this direction, and it will activate underneath. So I changed my mind. I'm going to go with this, and I was going to sketch a whole nother idea out, but why, when I have these two sketches here? I'm going to use this guy. And the reason why this goes on an angle in this direction, because that's the plane that this plane is going in. And the reason why this goes down in this direction, because that's the plane direction of the side plane. And everything else is intact, and you won't even see what's inside of it because the cylinder is in front of it. Okay, let's do it. Keep this here as my reference. And this is just printing paper. You might as well sketch here first before you commit. It's the better method. And again, I'm starting to start with my orange. If I feel the orange isn't showing up, then I'll switch to another color that's still on the lighter end. All right, so in this case, the bottom of this is lower than the circle. So I'm just gonna, should I just go with this line here? No, I'll just go a little bit below it. What I'm doing now is I'm lining this graph ruler up with the line that already exists. I'm just going to go maybe 3 spaces below it. And that way I don't have to use my slider because it's parallel too. All right. So this corner here is about, let's say about right here. So I'm going to end it about right here, because if I go up, sorry, that's my son is loud right now, and he's not even on this floor. And then, so I guess this will be kind of big. Why not? I can always change the shape of it later on, but right now this is what I'm going to go with. And then the height of it's going to be about, because I'm going to crop off this center about right here, so the height of it's going to be about right here. So I might as well just put the height in now. And again, I'm just lining it up with an existing line. That's going to be my height. So now I'm going to draw a vertical line straight up. And again, I'm using my graph ruler to make sure that it's parallel to the bottoms of the paper. Vertical line. Just makes things so much easier. I didn't have to slide at all. Why not? All right, so this is going to be a pretty big form. It's actually bigger than the, or almost as big as the original cube that I started off with. And the reason I'm drawing this up is because a hexagonal prism is basically a square. In this case, it's going to look like this. Or not a square, but based off of rectangular form. I guess it is a square because it has to be a hexagon. It's going to be hexagonal-like. It's not going to be a perfect hexagon. But once you start off with this, you cross the corners. And the reason I'm drawing this out now is because it's going to be confusing probably here because of all the lines. Once you cross your corners, you find your center. And then in that center line on a diagonal, you're going to draw a long line. Anywhere along that long line outside of this line here, you can put a connection point. And what I'm going to do is just use my piece of paper. I'm going to connect from here, or I'm measuring the distance between that point I made and the edge of the box, and I'm going to add the same connecting point to the other side in the same distance. In perspective, this wouldn't work in that way, but since we're doing parallel line drawing, that's how we're going to go about it. And then you connect those points from here to here. And then after that, parallel lines in this direction. And this line here is going to be parallel to this line here. And then this line here will be parallel to this line here. And then you can see that that form is created. And you don't have to draw it sideways like this. You can actually put the hexagonal prism on the top and do the same idea. And it would go down like this. But that might even confuse you more. So I'm going to go in this direction. I don't have any lines to make it parallel to, so in this case, I have to use my slider. Use the slider when in doubt. Don't get lazy. So here's my slider. I don't know how long I'm going to make this. So I'm just going to extend those lines as much as I can. If I draw this out to here, the reason I'm figuring out, like, if I add this part that's right here, right, which is going to stick this end out, I want to have this end be included. So if I were to do something like this, this would be here, and I don't want it to get too close to the edge. So I'm trying to dictate where that's going to be. So I'm going to end it right here. I think that's a safe spot for me to draw my vertical line down. And then slide the back part. once it's in, it's in. Okay. Now I'm going to use my blue. I might use my red. I might use my green. Just for the viewers at home, I might use my light green. The viewers at home, whoever's watching this, like I have viewers. The reason I'm going to use the green is just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to cross my corners here. And it's so I can see what I'm doing. Now I can just locate the green line. And I'm going to cross my corners here. So what I'm doing is I'm crossing the corners of that box that I drew. And I drew that box pretty dark just so I could see what the heck, where the heck it is. And I'm just going to make this green line just a little darker. Here's the center here, and I'll put a little dot. Now I'm going to draw a diagonal line right through that center. And it just so happens that this, I can line something up perfectly to it so I don't have to slide. So you can see that diagonal line going through the center. And as I said before, I'm just going to guesstimate. I'm going to go on this side about that much. And then I'm going to use my A piece of paper. I'm going to mark from here to the edge of the box. I'm going to add it to the other side. That way I don't have to just guess. I know that they're equal on both sides. And again, this is just a quick way of solving the problem. In this case, I'm going to go back to my orange. And I'm going to put this in. Back to my orange on this side. Put this in here. All right. Now I'm going to use my slider. I'm going to slide up. And use my slider here. Slide over. Use my slider here. Slide over. And I could have, remember I marked that off there? I could have probably got it in a little closer. And if I ever want to add more to it, I can just extend the length of this, and then which I can just kind of come down here and there. So I'll make that compositional decision later. It's not a big deal right now. If I need to add something here as another wedged form, then I would probably do that. But right now, I'm just going to continue on as planned. All right, so I believe what I did here was I just found where this, see where this ellipse, the blue ellipse overlaps that top plane, which is the top plane here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a line about right here. I'm just gonna sketch this in real quick so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And then it goes down, follows that plane. And that's it. That's basically the idea. So I'm going to use this guy, and now I'm going to put that line in for real. And I'm going to use this guy and put this line in for real. Right down there at the bottom. Cool. So that's where it's wedging. And what I can do now is I can use my blue, because I don't have to use my red for anything because I can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can as well. But once I put the blue lines in, this will start to make more sense. And then I can erase. I'll explain in a second. But I can erase the blue line, the old blue line, lightly. That's going to be inside of the form, which is this blue part of the ellipse of the cylinder. That's inside the form, so I just lightly erased it because it was in blue. And if I want to go back later and draw it in a lighter value color, then I can still do that. And so as you can see, I'm working where the wedge parts are first, and I'm going to work my way out because it helps you understand what I'm doing as well. Oh, darn thing slid on me. I'm trying to keep my head out of the camera angle, and it makes it difficult for me to. So once this line here is just going to end right here because everything else is inside of this form. And that's it. This big orange line here, that doesn't exist, but I'm just going to lighten it a little bit just so it doesn't compete. It was used so I could figure out how to add the 2 additional planes on each side to this hexagonal prism-like form. These are my glasses and I'm still missing corners. So my design and composition is evolving, and I'm trying to figure out, see where this line, compositionally I don't like where that all these lines meet at the same spot. So what I can do is I can wedge this into the cube. See how this creates tension? All the blue lines here meet at the same spot. For now, maybe I can just leave it, but I do not like how that's supposed to wedge there. I'm just figuring something out. I might end this right here, but I'll figure that out later at another time for now, because this wedge is still happening, right? And I don't want this to cover that and this to be behind it. So I'm gonna have to sit with this for a little bit and figure it out. But for now, maybe I can do this. Just gonna throw this in for now and see what happens, and I'll just sit with it for a little bit. Sometimes there's not an answer right away. I'm gonna put a line here. I'm gonna erase this as if it's wedged into the big cuboid behind it. And this is where the wedging would take place, right here. So that's what I'm gonna go with at the moment. And that is it